The biting wind whipped through the whispering woods, rustling the crimson leaves that clung stubbornly to the branches. Jiro, his brow furrowed in thought, sharpened his newly crafted sword. Akane tended the small fire, the flames dancing in her eyes. Akira, ever practical, cleaned their hunting spoils, while Yuki, a bright smile gracing her lips, hummed a cheerful tune. They had been in this strange, vibrant world for months now, pulled through a shimmering portal that had appeared in their quiet hometown. Jiro's power was undeniable. The world's magic had resonated with him in a way it hadn't with the others. He could manipulate the very elements, his strength and speed far surpassing theirs. Yet he carried this power with a quiet burden. He longed for home, for the familiar rhythm of his old life. Another successful hunt, Yuki chirped, breaking the silence. We'll eat well tonight. Akira nodded. Indeed, we should celebrate. It's been a while since we've had a proper meal. As they ate, the conversation drifted to their pasts, a way to connect in this alien world. Back home, Jiro began, his voice low. I lost my family when I was young. A fire. I was the only one who made it out. The memory, though years old, still burned in his eyes. He rarely spoke of it. The others exchanged somber glances. This was the first time Jiro had opened up about his past. Yuki, sensing the shift in mood, placed a comforting hand on his arm. My life was, well, it was good, she said, her voice soft. I had a loving family, lots of friends. I miss them, of course, but I try to remember the happy times. Her smile, genuine and warm, brought a flicker of light to Jiro's eyes. Akira shrugged. Mine was simple. Went to school, played sports. Nothing extraordinary. Akane, her gaze fixed on the flames, spoke quietly. I was lonely. My parents were always busy. I spent most of my time alone, lost in books. The shared vulnerability forged a deeper bond between them. They were a team, a family forged in adversity. Their journey was fraught with peril. They faced monstrous beasts, cunning sorcerers, and treacherous landscapes. Jiro's power was a shield, but the others were far from helpless. Akane's sharp mind and strategic thinking often saved them from disaster. Akira's unwavering loyalty and combat skills made him a formidable warrior. Yuki's uncanny ability to connect with people and animals often opened doors and smoothed their path. One day, they stumbled upon a village plagued by a tyrannical lord. Jiro, his power blazing, swiftly deposed the tyrant, earning the gratitude of the villagers. Their reputations spread, and soon they were sought after for their skills and their sense of justice. Years passed. They traveled the land, helping those in need, their bond growing stronger with each challenge they overcame. Jiro, through his selfless acts and wise leadership, rose through the ranks of nobility, eventually becoming the Duke of the North. Akira, ever at his side, became the captain of his guard, his loyalty unwavering. Akane, through a chance encounter, reconnected with Ryo, a nobleman she had met briefly before their arrival in this world. Their shared past blossomed into love, and they were married. Jiro and Yuki, their connection deepening with each passing day, found solace and love in each other's arms. Jiro, the once scarred and lonely boy, found happiness with Yuki, her infectious optimism and unwavering support a constant source of strength. He ruled his duchy with wisdom and compassion, loved by his people with Yuki by his side. One clear night, under a sky full of unfamiliar constellations, Jiro and Yuki stood on the balcony of their castle. Do you ever think about going back? Yuki asked softly. Jiro looked at her, his eyes filled with love. This is my home now. And you, Yuki, you are my home. He took her hand, his touch gentle yet firm. I wouldn't trade this life, this world, for anything. Yuki smiled, a radiant, joyful smile that mirrored the stars above. Me neither, she whispered. The crisp northern air nipped at Yuki's cheeks as she surveyed the bustling marketplace. Since Jiro had become duke, she had taken an active role in managing the duchy, her natural charm and empathy proving invaluable. She'd learned to balance her inherent optimism with a shrewd understanding of politics and economics, a skill she never knew she possessed. Jiro, meanwhile, had blossomed under the responsibility. The pain of his past still lingered, but it no longer defined him. He channeled his grief into a fierce determination to protect his people, ruling with justice and compassion. His power, once a source of internal conflict, was now a tool for good. One crisp autumn day, a messenger arrived with a royal decree. The king called upon the north to join the royal army in a war against a neighboring kingdom. A chill ran down Yuki's spine. The thought of Jiro going to war, facing unimaginable dangers, filled her with dread. She'd seen the toll war took on people, the scars it left, both visible and invisible. Jiro, ever stoic, accepted the summons without hesitation. He knew it was his duty, but as he prepared to leave, Yuki saw the worry etched in his eyes, a mirror of her own fear. They spent their last night together in quiet intimacy, holding on to each other as if afraid to let go. "Come back to me, Jiro," Yuki whispered, tears welling in her eyes. Jiro cupped her face in his hands. "I will, Yuki. I promise. I'll fight for our home, for our people, for you." The following weeks were agonizing for Yuki. She received occasional updates about the war, but the news was often vague and delayed. She threw herself into her work, organizing support for the families of soldiers, visiting the wounded, trying to distract herself from the constant gnawing fear. Akane, now happily married to Ryo, offered comfort and support. Akane and Ryo's wedding had been a joyous occasion. The ceremony, held in a beautiful meadow, was a celebration of love and new beginnings. Akane, radiant in her white dress, looked happier than Yuki had ever seen her. The reception was filled with music, laughter, and delicious food. Akira, ever the loyal friend, stood by Jiro's side as he prepared for war, offering his unwavering support. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, news arrived that the war had ended. The king's forces had been victorious, and Jiro was coming home. The day Jiro returned was one of the happiest days of Yuki's life. She stood at the gates of the city, her heart pounding with anticipation. As she saw his banner approaching in the distance, she ran towards him, her tears flowing freely. Jiro, weary but triumphant, embraced her tightly, burying his face in her hair. Life in the north slowly returned to normal. But it was a different normal. They had all been changed by the war. Jiro, though physically unharmed, carried the weight of command and the memories of battle. Yuki too had grown stronger, more resilient. Years passed. Jiro and Yuki were blessed with 3 children. Twin boys Aaron and Edward arrived first, followed a year later by a little girl, Hinata. Their home was filled with laughter, the sound of children's footsteps echoing through the halls. For Hinata's first birthday, Jiro and Yuki hosted a grand ball. The castle was alive with music and dancing. Akira, now a decorated general, proudly held his wife as they waltzed across the ballroom floor. Akane and Ryo, their own family growing, shared stories and laughter with old friends. As Yuki watched her children play, surrounded by the people she loved, she felt a profound sense of gratitude. She had found her home, her purpose, and her happiness in this strange, magical world. And she knew with absolute certainty that her journey with Jiro, from the moment they were pulled into this world, was a love story for the ages.